Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is a bittersweet video for me because this is my last upload here in France. We are headed home this week and it has been an amazing summer and I loved having you all along for the ride this year. It was so much fun. And in the course of doing that, I got a lot of questions about France, about learning French, about what should you know if you're coming here. So I thought my last video would be a top 10 tip for those of you who are planning a trip to France. What should you know? All right, let's work our way up. So number 10, if you're planning a trip here, make sure that you pick the right time of year for what you're looking for. So summertime, everybody loves to come to France in the summertime, but there are 3 distinct seasons, I think. If you want to come and have very little tourists and still have good weather, June is for you because June is delightful. You can get parking spots everywhere. Most of the shops and restaurants are open. It's just things like the paddle boarding or the canoeing might only be open 1 or 2 times during the week and not every day. So that's sort of the trade-off. So I would say from like June 1st to June 30th is really great for that. Now, things really heat up in July. So from July 1st to the 14th, you're still okay because it's right before the big national holiday, which is July 14th. Everything at that point will pretty much be open. It's still fun. It's just you have to kind of wake up earlier if you want to get to the market to get a parking spot. The restaurants will be a little bit more crowded, but July is still a pretty safe bet. August. Let's talk about August. August is when all of the French go on vacation. So in addition to all of the international tourists, you also have all of the French tourists. And it's crazy, let's be honest. It's really high season. So you really can't drive to the beach unless you want to get there, say 10 o'clock in the morning, because everybody is taking their cars everywhere. The best bet is really to bike, to walk, take the Passeur. That's a great way to go. But it's really, everything is just crowded. Okay, number 9, if you're planning a trip to France, you can choose between staying in a hotel or renting a house or an apartment. I would always say rent a house or an apartment because you're just gonna get more of the French culture that way. It's going to allow you to navigate the market, the grocery store, the appliances, like all of the things that sort of go into getting a feeling of living here, you're going to get when you rent a home or an apartment. Now, if you're renting a home and you are navigating the grocery store, here's a few tips to keep in mind. Number 1, you are going to need a little token to get the grocery carts. So this is something that I think is so ingenious in France, and I have no idea why we have not adopted this in the United States, and some poor person who works at the grocery store has to go around collecting all the carts. But here in France, you actually pay for the cart, but you get your money back. So you arrive, you either get the little token that the grocery store will give you for free, or if you're a newcomer, it will also take €1. You put your euro or token in the slot, grab your cart, and then when you bring your cart back, you get the token or the euro back. It really keeps the carts from getting all over the parking lot because they're incentivized to get their token or the euro back. Then when you get into the grocery store, the biggest learning curve I found was the idea that you had to weigh your own produce and get a little sticker that told you how much it is. In the States, the cashier weighs the produce, but here in France, you have to do it yourself. And I've had some really awkward, hilarious moments when I was first coming here where I was waiting in line and there's like 5 or 6 people behind me there with my bananas only to find out that I was supposed to weigh them. And I didn't understand that. And then of course I had to get out of line, get all of these people upset, go weigh them, get the little ticket, and then come back. And let me tell you, my French wasn't as good then as it is now, and it was really kind of painful. The other thing about the grocery stores is that you need to bring your own bags. So we are trying as much as we can in the United States to do that. But here in France, they've been doing this for years and they take it really seriously. If you want a bag, you're either gonna have to bring it yourself or you're gonna have to buy one. Now, I have forgotten my bags in the car a few times here in France. And one of the things that I've discovered is if that happens to you and you're in line and you're like, oh my gosh, I have a cart full of groceries with no bags, what do? All you do is just put it all back in the cart. Take your cart out to the parking lot of your car, all your bags are in there and you can bag them right there from the cart. So that's my little tip for you if that happens to you and you forget your bags. You can just do it right at the car. Now, the other thing about renting a house in France is whoever the agent is that shows you around when you first arrive, make sure they show you how to use the appliances. One of the things that I have learned in France, I guess just traveling in general, is that all of these appliances work a little bit differently. So what you might be used to at home could be totally different in a rental house. And I learned this once when we rented an apartment in Paris and the washing machine also functioned as a dryer. So it was a washing machine / dryer. So you'd wash your clothes, and then once it was done, you would set it to dry, and then it would dry your clothes. I have never seen such a contraption. I just thought that was the most amazing thing. Case in point, the dryer here, it actually extracts the moisture and fills it up in this reservoir. So every few times you use the dryer, you have to actually empty out this thing that's full of water. And I didn't know that. And for days, this thing kept blinking at me. And I was like, what is this? And then my husband was like, oh, it's one of these dryers where you have to actually empty the water. Who knew, right? Dealing with the trash is probably a little bit different than what you might be used to at home, especially if you're coming from the United States. It's one of the things that I love about France. They are very environmentally friendly, and they take this whole trash business really seriously. So unlike in the States where we have trash and then we have a recycling bin, and basically everything that can be recycled, whether it be a newspaper or a glass bottle, goes in the same bin, here it's all separated. So, and then this is where it gets a little complicated. So most homes, you have your trash, which is similar to, I guess, everything that's like kitchen scraps. Anything that can't be recycled goes in that bin. And then all of the packaging goes in another bin. And then these go in the 2 trash cans that you bring to the street. But for anything larger, like large plastic containers or newspapers and cartons or glass bottles, you have to go to the neighborhood trash receptacles. But basically you just pull up with your car, put the glass in one bin, put the plastic bottles in the other bin, and then put the cartons in the other. And at first, dealing with all this trash might seem like a lot of work, but I'm telling you, it does inform what you buy. Tip number 8, learn some French before you come, even if it's just a few words and a few phrases. I just think it really goes a long way to your enjoyment in a foreign country if you can learn just a few couple of phrases and a few words. So I got a lot of questions about my French and how did I learn the language. And with the skin, je dois retirer le peau?
Non,
No,
tu manges la peau.
T'es sûr?
Oui.
Allez, vas-y,
Bess.
It's been 20 years in the making. I won't lie. This has been probably one of the hardest lifelong journeys that I have done, which is really committing to learning the language, because no one in my French family speaks a word of English. And I learned this the hard way the first year I met my husband. So this is like 22 years ago. I came with him to France only to find out that nobody spoke English. I was stuck at dinner tables for sometimes 6 hours. Just sitting there, nodding my head, trying to follow the conversation with my horrible high school French, which was kind of a joke. I didn't really learn much in high school. I think like most of us, we kind of don't pay attention, thinking, oh, what am I going to need this for? Cut to, I really could have used it. I spent most of the time with the kids at the table, at the kiddie table, drawing and coloring with who would soon be my nieces and nephews. They were probably ages 5 to 10, and they were the best because they don't care that you speak with an accent. And I learned a lot in those early days from my little nephews and nieces that were all too happy to help me with my French, even if it was just us coloring and, learning the words for crayon and cat and dog and house as we were kind of coloring and drawing pictures together. So that's tip number 1, spend time with children. Tip number 2 is definitely, if you're committed to learning the language, take a class or 2 in person if you can, because I think that you just get a lot more kind of instruction that way if you have questions. I find that those classes that I took after I realized that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with this French person, knowing that none of their family spoke French, I was like, okay, I need to really invest in this. And so I took Saturday classes for probably 4 to 5 years, every Saturday, an hour with a private tutor, just learning grammar, because the grammar in French is pretty intense. There's lots of tenses. There's the formal, there's the familiar. I just really needed to start at the beginning. If you've already taken some French and you understand the grammar, kind of how it works, then I think another tip is to use the Babbel app. I think it's really great because it'll meet you at your level. You have it on your phone. You can do, 10, 15 minutes a day. It will help you with your pronunciation because you can speak into it and it'll tell you how close you are. So that's really good. And then I love my French-English dictionary app. I will leave you a link in the description to what it is, but why I love it is because you can look up a word, it will tell you what the French word is, it will pronounce it for you, and it'll conjugate it for you. So just kind of on the fly, you can use that as you go if you need it. So that's also good. And then my next tip with learning French is just go to a place that does not speak English. That is the best way to learn French. The sink or swim method is very effective. You will be less self-conscious when you are forced to speak French. I find when you go to the touristy areas of like Paris or down in the south of France, People will hear you with your American or English accent and they will just automatically speak English to you. And I think that's really disheartening when you get up the courage to like ask a question in French and then they respond in English. I know they're just trying to be hospitable and sometimes they are wanting to practice their English, but there's nothing that can just kind of take the wind out of your sails more than someone that responds to you in English. So you will not have that problem if you come to Saint-Gilles-Croix-de-Vie because there are very few people I have found here that speak English. Deal with the tech ahead of time. And I say that because there can be nothing more frustrating than trying to use those little converters when you get here, trying to charge your iPhone or your laptop. And now with social media, you're gonna wanna be able to share your photos on Instagram or Facebook or whatever you're using. I found the best investment I made was a $19 phone charger with the actual right plug. Such a pleasure. It's so easy. So much so we've decided to buy some for the house and leave them in the bedroom drawers. Just head to the local grocery store because the grocery stores here are huge and they usually have a technology department where you can find a phone charger and a laptop charger with the actual local plug. And that just saves so much hassle. The other thing from a technology perspective that I would bring with you are all of your passwords. So passwords to all your social media accounts, your email accounts, bank accounts, any type of website that you want to access from France that might have been set up in the United States because it's so sophisticated now and they will know that you are logging in from a foreign country. And that can set off a security warning that maybe your account is being hacked and they will shut you out of it unless you have the password. And I know when you're home, your computer might remember those passwords and it might be automatic. And then when you get logged out of it, if you don't have the password, it could be hard to get logged back in. So bring the passwords with you. Okay, my next tip, make dinner reservations if you are over 4 people. Because here in France, a lot of the restaurants are smaller. And unlike the United States where we have bigger restaurants and they can accommodate parties of 6 or 8 or more, here in France, you really need advance notice. So I can't tell you how many times we've showed up with 8 to 10 people without a reservation, only to get the sort of Gaelic shrug of c'est pas possible. Another thing you want to keep in mind when traveling in France, especially outside of the big, larger cities, is the lunch hour. So usually from the time of 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock, most stores and businesses close down for lunch. So if you're not aware of this can be really frustrating when you're a tourist and you're trying to pack a lot into your day. But if you know ahead of time, you too will take a nice lunch break from 12 to 2. Tip number 4, traveling with children. So we have been traveling here to France for 14 years with kids. And I can't tell you that I've got it down to a science, but I've certainly done a few things that make it a lot easier. And I will share those tips with you. So if you're coming from the United States, my biggest tip is take the night flight because the kids will sleep mostly through the whole thing. The other tip is feed them before they get on the plane. So we usually give them a really early dinner, usually at the airport, something that they get to pick and they're all excited about. They eat up, then we give them dessert, we give them the whole thing. When they get on the plane, they're really sleepy to begin with because most kids I find don't really like the airplane food. And then if you end up with a kid that is hungry on a flight and you're just giving them snacks, that just makes them even crankier. So this way, if you feed them before they get on the plane, they have a full belly, they get kind of sleepy and they're just happier. If you are traveling with kids that are in diapers, pack more than you think you need because we learned the hard way. We missed our connection one time from Paris to Nantes and we sat in the airport for 9 hours with a toddler that was not potty trained and ran out of diapers. And I can tell you, you can buy just about anything in an airport except for diapers. I don't know why. So that was a lesson that we learned pretty early on to pack more than you need because if your flight is delayed or if you end up on the tarmac for longer than needed and you have kids in diapers, you will thank me when you remember to pack a few extra. The other thing that has saved me when traveling with my kids in France is to pack what I refer to as mommy's medicine tote. So this is something that I do because the pharmacies in France are not open 24 hours like they are sometimes in the States. So when someone gets sick and they need something fast, you could find yourself with the pharmacy closed. And also moms and dads, if you're traveling in a foreign country, you may not know all of the different over-the-counter medicines. And sometimes I would be nervous giving somebody something that I didn't know how they were going to react to. Now, having said that, the pharmacies in France are really exceptional and the people that work inside them are really knowledgeable approachable. It's almost like a little mini clinic because they can point you in the right direction for any ailment you may have, and most of them also speak English. You will know when the pharmacy is open because the big green cross will be blinking. And what's really nice about it is you can see it sometimes from really far distance in a town, and you can just look across town to see if it's open or not. If it's not blinking, that means it's closed, and most of them are closed Sunday afternoon. Traveling with kids is so unexpected. There's always somebody who scrapes a knee or gets sick. And I'm telling you, moms, dads, the medicine tote is the way to go. So I do one side for all of like the first aid stuff. So I have my bag of Band-Aids, my Neosporin, a little antiseptic spray, anything that I need for first aid. And then on the other side, I do everything like, the Tylenol, the upset stomach medicine, everything that I need. And there have been years that my husband makes fun of me for this until somebody gets sick and it saves the day. So I'm just saying. Now, sometimes with kids, you may not have time to sit down at a restaurant or you just want something quick and easy. So the best bet for a hungry, cranky kid that needs something fast is the boulangerie, because inside you can usually find sandwiches. You can head in there, get yourself a baguette with salty butter and ham, bag of chips, and they are pleased as punch. When it comes to jet lag, my husband was pretty strict about this in that you get them accustomed to whatever time zone you are on. So if you arrive in the morning, you do everything that you would do in the morning, you eat lunch on time, dinner on time, and then put them to bed maybe an hour or two earlier than you normally would. That works a lot better than like, oh, you must be so tired, let's take a nap. You don't want to do naps outside of their regular schedule because then they will be up all night and it'll take a lot longer for them to get over the jet lag. This way, if you keep them to the schedule of the time zone you're on, the jet lag will be over in 2 to 3 days and you'll be so much happier. Tip number 3 is about being polite in France. So I'm often asked, are the French rude? And I would say people can be rude everywhere. If you're rude to somebody, they're probably going to be rude back. But I think the French are misunderstood a lot. I don't think that it's rudeness as much as directness. The French are very direct and they will tell you exactly what they're thinking, even if you haven't asked for it. So if that comes off as rude, so be it. But I find it pretty refreshing. I think in the States, we're so used to being like overly nice to people, maybe hiding our true feelings or not being honest because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. But in France, they'll just tell you the way it is. In fact, there's a sign that I always see in France that to me just sort of sums up this directness of the French. And I don't know, it might be controversial, but this is the sign. And the sign says, I will leave you my parking space if you take my handicap. It might be a little off-putting for people to see that sign, but to tell you the truth, I think it sends the message. The biggest thing in France, if you want to be polite, is anytime you go up to somebody, whether you're asking for directions or you're looking for something in a store, is to always greet them with a bonjour or a bonsoir, madame or monsieur. So before you address somebody and launch into your question, you would say bonjour madame or bonjour monsieur, and then you would say, where can I find the lettuce or whatever. But if you don't do that and you just launch in with your question, you're going to get kind of a bristled response because it is so ingrained here in the French to address people that way that if you don't do it, you're really going to look out of place. And those salutations also extend to when you see somebody that you might be passing on a street. So, you probably don't want to make like eye contact with every stranger, but if you see an older person especially, and you're walking down the street and they look at you, they will most likely say, bonjour madame, bonjour monsieur. I can't tell you how many times I've been at a dinner table with an older generation, and a lot of the complaints of the younger people is that they will not say good morning when they pass them in the street. And I just think that is such a nicety that of course that should be preserved. So have at it. If you see somebody, say bonjour. Another way to show politeness in France is around the cocktail hour or the apéritif. So a lot of times I've entertained and I have asked my husband if he wanted a glass of wine before we waited for the guests to arrive. And he would always look at me like I was asking if he wanted to drink all the wine before the guests arrive. And he would be like, no, we have to wait for everybody. You don't have a drink before everybody arrives. And I have also sat there like awkwardly with like a group of French people, nobody drinking anything until the last person arrives. So I think that that's actually a very nice thing to do, is to wait for everybody. And then once everybody is served, when it comes time to kind of cheers, you can pick up your glass and you can say chin chin. You can say à votre santé, to your health, or à la vôtre. And then you have to look them right in the eye. So this might sound kind of strange, but if you don't make eye contact in France and you're just sort of talking with people and cheersing, that is considered a little impolite. And we've had many discussions about why this is. And basically what everybody can agree upon is that in the olden days, when you would cheer somebody, I guess there was a lot of poisoning that was going on between families, people of certain nobility and prestige. They would kind of put a little bit of poison in your drink. But if you made eye contact with somebody, you could see if they were going to put something in your drink or not. And so it just sort of stuck that way. And so now if you don't look someone in the eye when you cheers, you're kind of shifty. So don't be shifty. Be polite, look them in the eye and say, chin chin. And then, of course, there's kissing in France. So depending on what part of France you're in, it can be 2 kisses, 1, 2. It can be 3 kisses, 1, 2, 3. Or it can be 4 kisses, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I first met my husband, and he's from the Loire Valley, all of his family would do the 4 kisses. So if you were greeting 4 people as part of one family, that was 16 kisses. And I never knew when to stop. So I would just be there kissing everybody until they stopped because it was quite an ordeal. I don't know why that is, why it varies, although my husband will say the deeper in the country you go, the more kisses you get. So if you're in Paris, you're probably just gonna do 2. But I've never seen just 1. Tip number 2 is once you arrive in a town, always look for the local tourist office. It's really well done here in France. I have never even seen this in the United States, where every little town will have its sort of local tourist office. And in that office, you will find all of the things to do in the area. A lot of them also print these little card racks where they look like little postcards, but it'll be of a place that you can visit. And then on the back, it'll most likely be written in both French and English. It'll have how to get there, when it's open, everything you need to know. It's such a small little card that it's really easy to take a few of them, stick them in your purse so that you know where you want to go. The one that's here in Saint-Gilles also has a little local gift shop. So it has all of the different products from the region. And there you can find things like sardines and cookies and the local flour, all the products that the area is known for. So that's a really great place too to get some souvenirs. So if you come and rent this house, we have a little booklet that we have been filling. So my daughter actually organized this all. So it has things to do that are sports related, cultural activities. And if you come and rent the house and discover something that you love, put the brochure in the pack so other people can find it too. Okay, then tip number 1, and this is a really important tip, probably the most important tip. That's why it's number 1. When you come to France, do as the French. I can't say enough about this one because we are spoiled in the United States with convenience and speed. And France is not always convenient or fast, but you have to remember that you travel to get outside of your comfort zone, to leave the things that you may have at home, to experience something different. And the sooner you get with that attitude, the more fun you're gonna have and the more experiences you're gonna have. So hopefully this series has inspired you to get outside your comfort zone, try something new, come to France. I think when you do, you'll be so glad you did. And I'm looking forward to getting back into the kitchen and doing some recipe videos for you guys. All right, I'll see you then. Bye.